Yeah. Well, you know what happens when you take Matt's advice?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Bite me.
Well, we just talked for an hour and a half, and now it's gone forever. And something that we like to refer to as the lost episode. I'm gonna keep bringing that up. You're never gonna stop hearing about the lost episode because it was the best podcast that's ever happened in the history of podcasts.
It legitimately did happen. It really did.
It was good. It was the best podcast ever.
Yeah, it was somehow
You can't prove that it wasn't.
Somehow we went from talking about SpaceX and Starlink to what was our last topic? We talked about mental health.
I was high as fuck through the whole thing, honestly. We talked about motivation. That was what really bummed me out. There's a lot of stuff about that I was really wanting to talk about, and we're gonna have to talk about again because I would like to get it out there.
Yeah, it's easy though.
Oh man.
Oh, that means I have to retell my stories.
Yes, the story that came from the lost episode. I'm going to get that sampled, and I'm going to get a sample pad, and we're going to start doing that.
Okay.
We're just going to start being like, oh, remember that conversation we had on the lost episode?
Good Lord.
Oh, my God. So, we recorded this episode. And this is actually it was part 2 of the series and of just me and Matt talking. And then it kind of sputtered out at some point. It was something with the recording fucked up. It was because of what do you call it? A plugin that I was using. It just fucked it up.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, I grossly overestimated the abilities of the recording platform we were using.
Yeah, well, it happens.
And suggested a plugin. It's a great plugin. It's called Voice Meter. It really is. We didn't set it up right, and it's stuff happens, technical difficulties. It happens.
So there's a few things that we're literally going to rehash, and I'm going to have to live through the most traumatic moment of my life again.
That was pretty intense.
Do you want to start with that?
Yeah, we might as well.
Okay.
Back when we had a metal band, we wrote a song, more specifically Trevor wrote a song that we called Skyoptic Light.
Yeah,
and there's a funny story behind that. Well, not funny. It's actually quite terrifying, but
yeah, it's pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is probably one of the most traumatic, if not most traumatic moments of my life. And I'd say it was traumatic because, I mean, it really just left like an impact. I mean, now I don't get to get your initial reaction. Because I told him a few things about what happened he didn't know about. But now he knows, so just act surprised. Oh. So, back in the early 2000s, it wasn't too early. No, yeah, it was early 2000s. It was about 2000 and... Well, how old was I? Or what year was it when I was 16? Who cares? I was 16. So K2 had been a huge thing at the time. You can do the math. You could probably figure out exactly how old I am. I'm 25. There you go. You do the math. And obviously K2 was this huge thing back then because synthetic marijuana was big because people there was a huge stigma around weed. This was before medical marijuana had really taken off and way before we actually legalized it recreationally. So it was a huge thing, especially for kids my age, to where parents and teachers and people like that frowned upon it so much so that we started doing a different drug. I hate to say it, but that's the reason. That's exactly why, like I said in the lost episode, that that was why I said in that episode, the one that we just did, that you if someone's doing something that's, for one, I guess at the time it wasn't legal, but now it is. For one, it's beneficial to so many people that it's used as medicine, and it's widely used. to help fight anxiety and depression, I feel like it's ridiculous to tell your kids to stay away from that.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Because you know how teenagers just work in general, or kids in general, is you tell them not to do something, they're going to go out of their way to do it.
Absolutely. Have you seen me? That was me as a kid.
Yeah, the best thing that you can do is just don't mention it to them. Because my mom and dad were plenty wide open with marijuana, and I tried it when I was 15.
I started when I was about 15 or so.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good age. I think you're mature enough at that age to handle it. And if you're not mature enough, then don't do it. You should know your own limitations.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying do drugs, man. You do whatever you want. I didn't tell you to do that. Don't sue me. Anyway, so getting back to that story, we had gotten a few grams of K2. And really, if you know anything about K2, you don't need that much, because who knows what's got sprayed onto that thing. It's just an instant that they are in, whatever the fuck you call it, and it's just sprayed with chemicals. And they change these chemicals so many times because every time they get cracked down upon, they'd be like, we're banning this chemical. Well, they came out with a new chemical that just mocked it. And that was dangerous, because then you got people dying because people don't know what they're ingesting. And that's a huge problem. If you have a drug, especially a drug, and you don't know what's in it, and you're just letting people do it, it's just, it can be really bad. So we went back to this field, and we smoked it. And there's these 3 hills on this field. And every time I'd go over each hill, we smoked, and I went over the first hill to go back to my house. And fucking every time we did it, this stuff affected time. Just like your perception of time. So I went over the first hill and I felt I had done this twice already. At least twice. I was like, no, we did this. We must have went back and went and did it again. And they said, no. We have only done this one time, and you're just freaking out. I was like, okay. And that was really when I started to realize that it was going to be a psychedelic experience. At the time, I didn't even know what the fuck that meant. I had never done a psychedelic before, but there was some definite psychedelic qualities that I can tell now that I've done psychedelics that that's what it was. So who knows what chemicals were in this, but we walked even further, and I remember the next thing I did was I looked down at my hands, and I said, what is this? And you laughed at it because, and they laughed at it too, because it was like, oh, that's a typical stoner thing. Like, oh, what's this? I was like, no, I really didn't understand what was happening, and that was the first sign and I started freaking out. I was like, dude, I don't even understand. Like, I felt alien in my own body. We had talked about that last time. I felt alien. Like, I just didn't feel right. It had affected my brain in a way that just did not. It felt wrong. Like, it felt like I shouldn't have ingested that, which obviously I really shouldn't have. But that's just kind of the product at the time, and
right.
Which is a huge problem and still is. But let's see. I'm trying to remember this. It's a really traumatic story to have to retell. And I think every time I tell it, it helps a lot, because it's like I can get it out in the open. People actually hear it and they're like, oh, this is why he is the way he is. And this is a lot of the reason why I have so much anxiety and depression, is because of this one incident. And fixing that is a huge problem, but we'll work through it eventually. The next part, we walked up the 3rd hill, and obviously every time I crossed the hill, I thought I had done it before, so that was old news. And I started seeing numbers outlaid. Basically, my own thoughts were outlaid before me, kind of as like a hallucination. Or it was a hallucination, because clearly now that I've had those, I can actually look back and be like, yep, that was what that was. Because, you can have hallucinations that seem really real, but this didn't really seem real. Like, you could tell that this is just my brain projecting these thoughts out, and just because I was under the influence of a substance. And I thought it was really weird, because my whole life, I pictured years as like a line graph with like notches in it, and it had numbers in it, and those are the years, and it just projected like that. And I thought that was kind of ironic later on because it had changed my perception of time in such a way that that was the first hallucination I had, which I didn't really ever think about like that until just right now, actually. Kind of funny.
Revelations,
really.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's a lot of weird shit that you kind of think of. But, yeah, like, I looked up to the sky, and I'd seen, you know the pink elephants from Dumbo.
Yeah.
We're rehashing this conversation.
right.
I keep asking the same question, but I look up, and if you watch the old Dumbo, they had this scene where Dumbo is drunk and there's like pink elephants. Remember Pink Elephants on Parade?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good song, by the way. But I saw those elephants up in the sky, but they were like neon outlines of them. It was just like a yellow outline of a pink elephant. Or the pink elephants, they weren't pink, but they're neon colored elephant outlines.
Mm-hmm.
I just like, they weren't like alive or anything. It was just super weird. And whew, that was scary, dude. I don't even understand. Like, that's having a hallucination when you don't even realize that you took a hallucinogenic drug is probably one of the scariest things I've ever had to. Because I was like, am I dying? Because that was my first thought. Is like, I don't know what dying is like, but if this is dying, I don't want to do that.
Right.
And that wasn't even the last thing I saw. I started seeing words, and this is where skyoptic light came from. I'd see these words projected out, and I could see how they were spelled, but I couldn't physically see them. That's how you know it's a hallucination, and how you know you're on a psychedelic type drug, because when you come back and you can't explain it, then that's usually the first indicator. But I saw the word skyoptic light, trioptic light, a bunch of words that end with light and had like K's and T's and L's and E's, and those are like the most common letters I saw. It was like the whole alphabet almost was just all that. It was really weird. And those words described pretty much everything in my life for that short amount of time. Bad was skyoptic light, trioptic light was good. It was, yeah, that's a part that I left out of the last one, but I'll do a little sidebar here. I got hospitalized not that long after I did shrooms, but it was for a completely unrelated reason. I had smoked a ton of weed. I had been up for a really long time.
How many energy drinks had you drank at that point?
Probably only one, but if you know me, I'm super lightweight when it comes to caffeine. I'm caffeine sensitive up the ass, man. I don't drink caffeine like a normal person does. I can't do it. And I got hospitalized, and that word came up again out of nowhere.
A near-death word?
Oh, yeah, I think that is just this word that's like, if I'm near death, that's what's going to happen. Is it's going to say, I'm just going to hear skyoptic. I'm like, fuck. Guess it's my time again. I was so scared that I was going to die that night, probably more than even the K2 night, because once again, when I took here, I'll go back and I'll come back to this story. I'll quickly finish this one out. Okay, so my brain was not working the way it should have functioned. Like I told you earlier, my tongue, it was like it wasn't there. Not that it was numb, but it wasn't there.
Yeah.
And that's super weird, and no one ever understands what I'm talking about, and I barely do. Anyway, we got back inside, and we sit down we all sit down in the living room, and I sit down in the chair, and I started feeling my heart rate. I checked it, my heart rate, you know how you'd like check it on your wrist like that.
Yeah.
And I had mentioned to Matt that I do this a lot, and it kind of like shocked you, right?
Yeah, because I thought about it a little bit, and I was like, yeah, I actually have seen you like checking your pulse every now and then.
Yeah, I do it all the time.
Like, it's casual too. It's not like you're staring at your wrist or anything. You just kind of do it when you're talking.
Yeah, I do it because that's an indicator that I'm having either a panic attack or an anxiety attack. It's that common. I have them a lot. And the reason behind it is this. I was sitting in that chair and I was feeling my heart rate, and it had gone up to what I would imagine is probably 200. Like to the point where it's like I just ran a fucking mile, but sprinted the thing. I mean, my heart has never beat that fast ever any other time in my life I can think of. And excuse me, I sat there, and everything kind of started like not going dark, but like I felt like a black dark presence just all around me, and like the opposite of going towards the light. And I closed my eyes because I felt like maybe that would help. It didn't help. If anything, I felt more like I was gonna die because everything was black, and I was like, "Oh shit, man, this might actually be it." Like, fuck, see you guys later. I'm dead, which is not funny, but it is. It was getting me through, and all of a sudden, I closed my eyes, and all I saw was black and a bunch of numbers, and I just felt like I was surrounded by just evil. Is probably the best way to put it. And I kind of slumped back in the chair, and I blacked out. I don't know what the fuck. I punched myself in the chest when I came to. I don't know if I was doing that beforehand or what, dude. Because I remember I told you I was feeling my pulse, and it went from 200 to like stopped, and then everything went numb, and then I kind of slumped back. I just came to. I couldn't have been that long, but I just felt like a huge burst of adrenaline. I was like, fuck. And I slowly came out of it, but I was still in that state of like freaking out for a really long time. But to get back to my sidebar, when I went to the hospital, those words came up again, and I started checking my pulse, and I forgot how to breathe again, like, because that was another thing that happened. I couldn't remember how to breathe. And that's the scariest thing ever. Mm-hmm. It's like, holy shit, dude. You don't, like, that must be what people go through when they overdose. It's like, not that they can't remember, it's just their brain just shutting down.
Yeah.
And that's what was happening to me. And I was like, fuck, man. I got to the hospital, and you know what they did? They calmly sat me down. I was saying, I don't know what's going on. I was nearly crying because, I mean, I didn't even know what the hell was going on. I couldn't even remember my name. And they told me to sign it, and I was like this. I just kept telling them, this is so stupid. I mean, I don't know how it came out, but that's how it sounded in my head.
Right.
And they thought, well, this kid's on drugs. It's like, I smoked weed. I have anxiety and panic disorder so bad that it's hard to live my life sometimes. And that's a perfect example. Like, I don't think it gets in the way that much, but when it comes to really, really high stress situations, I can think myself into a panic attack that I swear could probably kill me. It sucks.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people like that. And they just don't get the attention they deserve. They get pushed aside because they say, well, you're not really going to die. You're just thinking that. It's like, you don't know what's going on in those people's head. If you haven't been there, you don't know.
Yeah, that's another really big thing that we talked about on the missing episode and stuff is mental health. Mental health is not something to fuck with.
No.
You do not take it lightly.
You don't take anybody else's mental health lightly either.
Especially that, because this person could be asking for help, and they could legitimately need help and stuff.
Most people do. If they ask for help, then they need help. I hear people all the time. My brother's super depressed. He had a gun in his hand. He said, I'm going to do it. And he just said, oh, no, we don't care. It's like, why would you tell someone that?
Right.
Because that's going to stick with them. And he thinks that helped him. He's like, he never talked about it again. He's like, he probably never talked about it to you again. I wouldn't. Fuck you.
Right.
You're an asshole if you do that.
Yeah, and I see people who are considered suicidal and stuff are often stigmatized into being attention grabbers.
Yeah.
It's not what it is. I've been on that plane before. Like, just after sometime in 2010, I entered into such a severe depression that I actually planned out and bought all the materials to commit suicide. And suicide is not something to be taken lightly. Do not ever take it lightly. If you have suicidal thoughts, please, for the love of God,
reach out
to someone.
And that's what I had to do.
Yeah,
I had to. I went to the doctor and I said, I need something. I need some kind of pill or something just to get me through it. But I don't think that's the way that you should go about it. But if you don't have a choice and you can get some kind of antidepressant, sometimes that's all you have. And I know for me, I was being unhealthy. I was eating poorly. I wasn't getting sleep, and it was because of the things I was going through at the time. I had just moved. I had gone through a breakup, and I didn't have a job. It's like, bam, man, my whole life's overturned. And it's hard to see, like we said in the last podcast, there's got to be something on the horizon that you're working towards. And I didn't have that. I was like, well, this girl that I was dating that I had really thought was going to work out isn't ever going to work out, even though we tried a few more times, and then it just clearly wasn't working. And then I had nothing going on musically at the time because I'd moved, and I didn't have a job because I moved, and I didn't have a house because I sold it. And I was like, fuck, man, I have nothing going for me right now. And that's why it's important. Like, you have to have something to keep you going.
Yeah, and I remember talking to you through the entire time that you're going through all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like we'd go on Facebook and we'd do up a video call and shit. And I'm gonna make a request to those of you who are of age and drink. Do not drink alone.
Yeah, that's not. I've done it before. I think it's a slippery slope too, just getting caught in your own thoughts. Mm-hmm. And that's never good. Yeah. You got to have somebody to talk to when you're drinking. I don't think that's the kind of drug that you should be doing by yourself. I don't think any drug really is.
No. Yeah. I'm not condoning the use of drugs or illegal substances, but if you are set on doing it, do it with some friends.
Yeah. I think it's smart. Like I do it from time to time by myself, but I have to be in a good state of mind. If I go into like drinking and I just have a drink by myself, like that's it. Like I don't think that's too big of a deal, but even then it's still like you never know what it turns into.
Yeah.
I have to be in a good state of mind before I start. If I feel like I'm shitty or like I don't know, like oh man, I'm drinking because I had a hard day at work, man. Like that's a terrible time to drink by yourself. It's a good time maybe to drink maybe with your friends, but I don't really condone drinking. I would say just don't drink.
Yeah, honestly, it's not even worth it because your liver gets damaged. You wake up with, most people wake up with hangovers. I don't wake up with hangovers, but honestly, it's going back to the video calls over Facebook. It's when we were video calling, we would drink together. We were by ourselves, but we weren't alone.
Right, that's different. I think that's way different. I think it's you have someone to talk to. And I'm not saying don't drink because there are some benefits. I mean, even if
red wine.
Yeah, that's a good one. And even if you're just super stressed out and you haven't hung out with friends in a long time, like half the time that's mostly because you're hanging out with your friends. But sometimes it's a little nice to just unwind, be crazy, go do things you wouldn't normally do, as long as you're being like respectful about it and shit like that. But
don't destroy other people's property.
Right,
please.
Don't do that. But I'm saying like some of the best times I've ever had were when I was, drunk. But I wouldn't say they're the best times I've ever had. There's plenty of times I've had sober that are great. But that's what I'm saying that we talked about in the last podcast. I had personally been going through a lot of times in my life where I was an alcoholic. And now that I feel like I'm finally past that, I can actually have a drink and not feel like I need another one. Or I can have a drink and not being like, oh shit, how many times have I drank this week? Now it's like, shit, when's the last time I drank this month? And that's nice. That's a nice thing to have, especially for people trying to get over that shit. Because that's another thing that's kind of taken lately is alcoholism. It's been normalized. And I mean, there's people that I knew growing up that like they had huge problems with alcoholism, like musicians and stuff that I looked up to, and like people on radio even. There's a lot of people that talk about their addiction with alcohol and how it just ruined their lives, and that's a huge thing. Like, why are we ignoring this? There's a lot of ways that you can fight this too. We talked last episode about how microdosing ecstasy, MDMA, and shrooms, especially, can help people get over their addictions to all these other drugs, and especially if you take it with that in mind. People microdose on these things and they have success getting off of them. And I think it's important that we, maybe not, I don't know. I would love to legalize drugs like psychedelics and stuff. I think they're great. I think it's a great idea. I think even decriminalizing, I think we talked about decriminalizing pretty much every drug.
Yeah,
usually leads to actually pretty good, profound results.
Yeah, like over in I used Colombia as an excuse because Colombia is notorious for its cocaine and other illegal substances, of course. But ever since the decriminalization, not only obviously the crime rate is going to go down, but the number of people coming forward to get help.
Absolutely, yeah.
For their addiction has increased.
Was it this last episode or was it the first episode we talked about?
It was the last episode.
Oh, the lost episode. No, the lost episode. We did talk about that a little bit, so let's recap them on that. I can't even remember what the hell we were talking about. Man, we lost so much good conversation. It was the best podcast ever.
Yeah, it was actually fucking amazing because we only started out with like a couple things in mind, and somehow we went from a SpaceX Starlink program to.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
God,
yeah.
It just went so many places.
Well,
it was an hour and a half.
Yeah, you know that I'm always gonna bring you back on though. We'll have better podcasts. And of course, this one's great too.
Yeah.
We were talking a lot about motivation too. I think maybe we should venture in a little bit about that.
Motivation. So I'm gonna go back and retell my story that I told.
Yeah.
So
fun stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked.
We're just talking dramatic experiences all podcast long. Sit down and grab some popcorn and maybe some tissues.
Right, this is gonna be good, guys. Okay, so going up through pretty much the entire school system since 3rd grade, I have been in the special education. When most people think special education, they think of children that have like physical disabilities or in wheelchairs and stuff, and that is a part of it. But like I was part of the, I was considered an emotionally impaired student because I have bipolar syndrome. And I also had slight anxiety back when I was in school. I've always had anxiety. So I don't know if it's the same for normal education students, like outside of the special education program. But at the end, when you're in your senior year and you're getting ready to graduate, they pull you into an office. And you'll have your guidance counselor, and then you'll have your teacher, and then you'll have the principal sometimes. Sometimes it's the vice principal. And you sit down for what's called an IEP, an Individualized Education Program.
Yeah, and this is what I said should be a thing.
Yeah.
That you should be able to do if you're a normal student too, but that's another huge problem with the education system.
Yeah, and then and there really is a big issue, but so to explain a little bit what the IEP is, it's literally just to sit down and they ask you what you want to do after high school. Do you want to go to work? Do you want to go to college? What do you want to do? Type thing.
In essence, they do have that, but it's a whole class and it's a mess. That's for sure.
That doesn't surprise me.
Probably was a mess when you did it.
It probably was. But so me being an impressionable young 17-year-old, I graduated when I was 17. I was like, hey, I want to be a game programmer. And back then, this is back in the very early thousands, like between 2004 and 2008. I'm not going to give a specific year. But video games were starting to come out and get really big because this is back when the PlayStation 2 was the big thing on the market. And still considered the best-selling game system of all time, but that's something completely unrelated to what I'm talking about. Yeah. Um, but I told them I wanted to be a video game programmer, and they said that's not realistic, and we don't think you would. We don't think you would make it in that. Choose something else. That kind of hit me pretty hard. I was like, wait, all right. I want to be an archaeologist. And they said, you wouldn't make it in that career field. The second time they've repeated those words to me at that point. And then I finally got fed up with it, and I chose the next best thing that I actually liked, and it was cars. I was like, fine, I'll be a fucking mechanic. I even said it in that's verbatim. I'll be a fucking mechanic then. And they were just fine with that, because I'm not to demean any mechanics out there that might be listening, but you got to admit, mechanic work is not that hard. The worst part about it is diagnosing issues. But you don't need high education scores to be a mechanic. You don't even have to go beyond basic math for being a mechanic.
True. But most people can't do mechanic work, though. You got to remember that too.
Yeah,
it's not that it's a bad path. It's just that you shouldn't be forced to go down that path. That's not the path you want.
Yeah, and to be perfectly honest with you, it was just a mild for like automotive and stuff, and they ended up putting me in a diesel class, even though I wanted to be in an automotive class. But it's where am I going with this?
We're talking about how a lot of people, when you're growing up, especially teachers and parents, they don't ask you to follow your dream. What it really comes down to is they want you to do something that's maybe easy or has a high output. Something like being an engineer. They're like, well, it may be really hard, or being a doctor, it may be really hard and take a really long time, but think about how much money you could be making. I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to do that. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Why? Yeah, and I made this example in the last podcast. Oh, hold on. I made this example in the last podcast. I said, I know when I was younger, certain people, I won't name, but I had been told specifically that I said I want to be a doctor, and they said, you wouldn't be able to do that. What was the exact words? I don't think you're smart enough to do that. Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, that's an extremely fucked up thing to say to somebody. And
especially an impressionable kid.
Yeah, I won't get into who said that, but somebody said it. And that's not something you say to a kid. And we were talking about that too, but really what I was saying though, it's like, follow your dreams, man. Don't, just because someone doesn't like the fact that you want to be whatever you want to be in life, that shouldn't matter to you. You should be able to do whatever you want, and someone shouldn't be able to come up to you and tell you, well, maybe you should be a doctor, or maybe you should do this, or maybe you should just like think about you might not make it in that field, so maybe just kind of put your expectations, take them down a little bit lower. I hate that in people. What? Oh, this is what I was gonna say. I came up with this question the other day, and I said, you know me, mm-hmm. So if I were to come up to you and I'd say, what do you think is more likely, me going to an 8-year school to go into a field, the medical field, and become a doctor and maybe become a surgeon in a hospital or something like that, or I get a record deal and make a living off music?
Definitely the record deal, honestly.
And that's what I try to tell people. I am not built to be someone like that. I don't have any interest in doing something like that. I don't want to do it. Like, putting that on somebody it's a terrible thing to do. Because yeah, we need doctors and we need engineers and we need people that are working in the government, but that's not me. It's never going to be me. And to put that on somebody, it's crazy, man. Like, when you were younger, how many people told you couldn't do something? Probably a lot more than you thought, or a lot more than what would seem normal. You shouldn't do that to kids.
No, because when when kids are going up, I believe in positive reinforcement. I really do. And with positive reinforcement comes the responsibility of. We also talked about reprimandation of children.
Yeah, that was a huge
Like
thing.
I'm gonna before you start freaking out in the comments. I'm not saying it's okay to beat a kid. Do not hit a kid in anger or anything like that. Do not cause physical bodily harm to them, okay? Just don't do that because that can damage them not only physically but mentally for the rest of their life.
Absolutely.
It's just not, just don't do it. And but I do believe in hold your horses. I believe in spanking.
To an extent, yeah.
To an extent. Not like you pull their britches down and you just go full swing into
that's way
that's
too much.
way too much. Like, give them a little fucking love tap on the mouth or whatever, or a little love tap on the butt.
I think if you bruise a kid, that's taking it too far.
Yeah, that's definitely going too far.
Like, I'm not saying, like, oh, just hit him until he isn't bruised. Like, that's fucked up. But, like, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying when I was growing up as a kid, I never had someone, hit me or anything like that. I've been spanked a few times. I think not a lot, really. Looking back at it, not a lot. But the times that it did happen, it was like, dude, I'm not going to do that shit again. The fact that people still needed to be spanked and they just kept fucking doing it, it's like, man, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I still don't I don't wrap my head around that.
Yeah, and segue into, it's still pretty much the same topic, but segue into today's society where I in the lost episode or whatever,
The lost episode.
I was waiting for that. I was explaining that a friend of mine, she's a great person, she really is. She never hit her son, but her son wanted an iPhone 9. He was 7. A 7-year-old does not need an iPhone. In my opinion, that's my opinion. If you want to give your kid an iPhone, go for it. I'm not going to think bad of you. But he got so angry that he actually called the cops and said she was being verbally abusive and she was threatening to hit him.
Yeah, we were just talking about how crazy it is. And then we were talking about how people get into foster care and they just treat these kids like shit for a tax write-off.
Yeah. But real quick, just to finish off that story, she did get convicted of child abuse somehow. I don't know how.
Well, it's because I think they believe the kid.
Yeah.
Which is,
he's an expert liar.
Shit sucks, man.
Yeah.
Because that does happen.
Yeah, and in today's day and age, the kids, they know this. They can just call CPS and say, "Oh, my mom hit me in the face," and then they could hit themselves in the face.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's a crazy thing. They can just do that.
Yeah, and that's fucked up. And if anyone who's listening to this is young enough, under the age of 18, and you do this thing to your parent, you really need to rethink your life. You really need to rethink it.
Right, and
because that's wrong.
It's hard to get through to kids like that because you remember being a teenager.
Oh yeah, I was stupid when I was a teen.
Like, I don't want to call a kid dumb or anything, but it's like,
no, I was stupid.
Well,
I'm not saying teen.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, yeah, I was too, and I think everybody as a teenager just acted on their emotions so much because you're going through so many changes, and I think another huge thing is you're transitioning from being a kid to being an adult, and during that transition time, you don't give a shit about anything. Someone's like, yeah, don't do that. And you're like, fuck you, I'm gonna do it anyway. Like, all these kids were like, oh, you don't understand. I'm like, no, I understand. I've already been through it, so it's different once you've been through it. That's another really weird thing to think about. Like, we were kids at one point, and I think a lot of kids they look at us and they think that we've never been kids and that we can't relate.
Yeah,
it's super weird.
It's really surreal, because the other day, I don't know if I established in the first episode that I'm a very large supporter of marijuana and stuff. I do smoke it. I'm not gonna hide it.
I am judging you so harshly right now.
Good. I hope you do.
Let me take another hit though.
But like I said, I'm a huge supporter of marijuana. My opinion differs from most people. I think 18 should be the limit and all that stuff, but that's a discussion for another time.
That's a scientific thing.
Yeah, but shit.
You okay there?
Yeah, something happened to my ear. Sorry, I lost my train of thought too.
You're talking about marijuana.
Oh yeah, talking about marijuana. In what context was I talking?
you said you were an avid supporter of marijuana, and then I said I'm gonna take a hit, and then you must have got a contact high
or something. I swear, something. Holy shit!
You said you wanted the legal age to be 18.
Yeah, 18. There was something I was saying before that, but we're just gonna keep moving on because all I'm doing at this point is rambling.
Oh man. Is there anything you want to talk about that's not from the lost episode?
That's not from the lost episode.
Because I feel like we've just been rambling on about the lost episode.
Yeah, the lost episode, man.
It's gonna be called Mr. Postman Podcast number 5, the lost episode recap, and then you guys are confused because there was no lost episode. What happened to it? Well, it's lost.
Exactly.
It never got posted.
Well, I did. There is one thing else that I wanted to talk about, and it might go into slightly political.
Bring it on, baby.
But addiction is a very broad terminology, and it can apply to more than just drugs or anything like that, like video games. Mm-hmm. Addiction to video games is a real thing. It's not as ever present as everyone says it is.
True. We also talked about this in the last episode, but go ahead.
Yeah. But even though what I'm trying to work towards is President Trump's attack on video games.
I think everyone can agree that that's the dumbest thing he's ever said.
Yeah.
I know his supporters even said the same thing.
We can sit here until we're blue in the face and say, "Oh yeah, video games can promote violent behavior." Yes, they can promote violent behavior.
In theory. Do they, though?
Yeah, and then...
Probably not as much as you think.
Yeah, and then we can talk about the research that's been done.
Yeah, let's talk about the research. We're all about the facts here.
Yeah, the research.
Come on here, talk.
Where'd my research facts go? No, I'm kidding. But research has shown that violent video games specifically, don't necessarily promote violence. In fact, it actually has a calming effect.
I would think so. Even if you're playing something like Call of Duty where there's a lot of shooting going on, I mean, like, that's less time that you can be shooting somebody.
Right?
No, but really,
get that last
I think it helps. You know, for one, it's hanging out with your friends. It's you playing a game. It's not that these people have problems differentiating between real life and reality, or reality and video games. It's something. It's not that. They can clearly play a video game, like they go play Fortnite, and they're not gonna be like, shit, man, I just killed a kid on Fortnite. I'm gonna go do it in real life now. There's nobody that's ever had that thought. Right.
It's not like I'm gonna pop in Call of Duty Modern Warfare, that newest one or whatever, and be like, just mow down 20 enemies. I'm gonna go shoot up a fucking playground or something.
Yeah, people don't do that.
No, that's just stupid.
It's never been a thing. You think that the guy that shut up that Walmart? Do you honestly think that he played too much Grand Theft Auto and was like, shit, dude, better go shoot a bunch of people in Walmart?
Right.
What? That's what people want. That's what he wants you to believe? Is that this guy just played too much Grand Theft Auto? Like, I mean, he said it, so that he's got to... What does he mean by that? I mean, there's not even really any context to have that. And that wasn't a tweet, wasn't it?
No, I think he actually said that out of his mouth. And
that's not a good thing to say out of your mouth.
He said...
There's a lot of better things he could have said than that.
I don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure.
Matt said this.
Shut up. But the point is, video games
make people want to kill other people.
are the opposite of that, exactly opposite. If you cannot separate yourself from reality,
You may
and
have like schizophrenia maybe, and you should probably get that checked out.
what?
If you have a problem with what did you say? With separating yourself from
If you have a problem with separating yourself from fiction from reality,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You might have some kind of mental disorder, and that might be your problem rather than the video games.
yeah, exactly. That's actually exactly what I was
It
going to say.
runs deeper than that. Yeah, it runs way deeper than that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just blanket statement. Yep, violent video games. They're causing their kids to shoot up Walmart.
Yeah,
That's not what happens.
We also talked about VR.
Oh yeah, VR is nuts. Like VR is basically just us in a simulation.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe we're in VR right now.
Maybe.
Everyone, take off your helmets.
Right, take it off.
Pause the podcast first, though.
But no, with VR, it's insane the progress that's been happening recently. Mm-hmm. Like I've actually tried out an Oculus Rift S, the new Oculus Rift, and it's amazing. It really, really is.
It is. I mean, like I don't know if I've done Oculus, but there is a virtual arcade that me and my friend go to every once in a while. And oh my god, man, like they give you a ton of space to walk around in too. And they have like these markers if you've gone too far. And it feels real because you're literally walking around. The only thing you're doing is you're holding these motion sensors basically, and then like it feels like real life. It feels overly real.
Are you sure that wasn't the Oculus Quest?
I don't know what it was.
It's either the Quest or Go or something
Could be.
that.
It could be. I don't know.
Or it might be one of those shitty off-brand ones. Who knows?
I don't know if it was a shitty off-brand one. It did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
It was probably. You're probably right. Probably was an Oculus.
Yeah, probably.
But they probably just had a ton of them.
But yeah, I have personally, because I described it in the Lost episode, that I bought a dev kit too, the second developer's kit of the Oculus, and I remember hooking it up to my laptop and plugging in my Xbox 360 controller, and I was ready to go. I popped that bad boy on, and I played this game called Windlands. This game was it was like a life changer for me because I finally realized virtual reality is a real thing.
Mm-hmm. You've been waiting for it. I used to have one actually in the early 2000s that was just like it, but it was what was it? It was like Galaga almost. In VR, it was super weird.
Yeah. Have you
Remember
ever
those?
played the Virtual Boy?
No.
Don't.
Okay. I won't. Thank you.
You won't be able to see the color red for a week.
It just blinds you with the red light.
Yeah.
That's what this one did.
Yeah, then it might have been a Virtual Boy.
It might have been. I remember having it in like 2000 something. I was super young.
You had to like put your face up to the whole thing.
Once we're done with this, I might go see if I can find it. I might still have it.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if I have it still, but I know I had it for a while. I probably threw it out because I'm pretty sure I broke it.
Probably.
My blind rage.
It was pretty flimsy. And if you're old enough to have played on a Virtual Boy, good job.
Yeah, congratulations. You can sit with us.
Right? But yeah, the evolution of technology blows my mind. Because literally in 2006, I had a computer that had a Athlon... what was that? An Athlon 3500 processor, an X2 processor.
Yeah, I'm over my head here. I have no idea what the
It's
hell
all
you're
good.
talking
I'm
about, sir.
to explain it. Don't worry. But it was considered state of the art, and if you don't know much about frequencies, this probably won't make much sense to you. But the processors operate on hertz, and this processor specifically was considered one of the fastest processors of its time, clocking at 2.2 gigahertz on a dual-core processor. Dual-core was insane back when this computer was out. Nowadays, we have 8 cores that go super duper fast at like 4.3 gigahertz and stuff, which is essentially like 16 times as powerful.
Well, it's infinitely more powerful. Remember those computers back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
Should I open up Microsoft Word? It's like, not responding. Fuck you. Remember when you were at Gateway?
Oh, my God.
I had a Gateway computer that looked like a cow.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is... It doesn't make any sense looking back at it. Like, why is it a cow? Why did you make a computer a cow?
I remember going to the Gateway store with my parents, actually. Yeah. in big town that's close by or whatever, and I remember seeing the Gateway store, and I was just like, "Ma, that looks like a cow." And my dad's like, "Yeah, we better beat the beef out of it," because my dad's that dad who makes dad jokes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and it kind of passed on to me.
Oof.
Yeah, oof. Big oof.
I know I don't have it anymore. That's such an old computer. I remember having it when I was super young, and oh man, that was like the computer back then. Mm-hmm. They were always talking about, oh, you got to get a Gateway. Like,
yeah,
what the fuck happened?
Gateway with 1 gig of RAM and stuff.
You could play pinball on it.
Oh my God, dude!
Remember that?
I spent hours on that game.
I spent hours, man. Yeah, I just played the shit out of it. No reason.
I set a highest score of 143 million.
I don't know what mine was, but it's got to be close to that because I got so bored of playing it that I was like, dude, I could just keep going forever. I literally just gave up after a while. Like, I willingly gave up. I could have kept going. I don't know what the high score was. I wish I still had that game so I could find out, but I was just like going and going. My cousin was watching me. She's like, what the fuck? You're going to beat my score? Oh, man.
Oh, jeez.
That was a game I played the shit out of because I didn't have internet.
Mm-hmm. The dial-up.
The life of 28K dial-up internet.
Oh, you spoiled brat.
28 slow.
Dude, I had 12K.
Wow, that does not sound good.
Yeah, it was as slow as you can imagine. Downloading a single music file would take 743 hours.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Everyone listening's like, dude, I can just download anything. I think a lot of if you're over the age of 21, you probably remember that shit.
Oh yeah,
or maybe even younger.
Yeah, believe it or not, younger viewers, that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, fuck you, young kids. God damn it! Now I need a new demographic. Oh
but
man.
In reality, I don't regret growing up with that with the shitty technology. I really don't.
Yeah, it kind of makes you appreciate the stuff you have now.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, I remember when I had a VHS. And now everything's in 8K.
Yeah.
Well, not yet, but it will be. Let's give it some time, and it's gonna get there.
Well, there is officially 8K support out there.
Support, yeah, but nothing to really run on 8K.
Yeah, you have to have a 75-inch TV. There's actually I accidentally did a small plug, but it's not that big a deal. But Linus Tech Tips is a really popular channel on YouTube. It's got like 9 million subscribers and stuff, which is amazing to me. But anyways, crap, I lost my track again.
Oh my god. You're talking about Linus, 9 million subscriptions. I don't think that's a word.
Subscriptions?
I don't know where I was going with that. You were talking about something.
Oh, yeah, they had a sponsor. I can't remember the name of the company. But they sent him a 75-inch 8K TV. The reason why it was 75-inch is, as opposed to 80-inch, is because it was basically 4 monitors superplexed together and put into a single display. And the graphics card that they were using was one of the most powerful in the market at the time that they did the video, and it still could barely push it. But thinking about it, back in, what was it, 1996?
1996, that's when I was born. That's what you sound like. Hey, what are you, an 80s baby?
No. No.
Were you? Yeah, were you?
Yes.
You son of a bitch.
I was an 80s baby,
What,
but I was
You goddamn boomer.
Boomer. Oh, fuck you. Okay, no offense to boomers. If you are a boomer, I don't have a problem with your generation. I don't know why you have a problem with mine. But I am a millennial.
30-year-old millennials.
I know, right?
Wait a second.
Hang
I
on.
thought they were 12. I gotta be one of the younger ones. I'm like, yeah.
You're on the border.
I'm like 3 years off of it or something. I think literally, because I was talking to someone the other day. They're literally right on the edge, and they're like 22. 20, Yeah, so I think 23 is the line, and I'm 25.
Yeah.
I'm the youngest. I'm like one of the youngest millennials. They're like, oh, goddamn millennials, high school. It's like, dude, I'm 25.
Right.
Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, nowadays they call it Generation Z, I guess.
Yeah, Gen Z.
Gen Z.
You damn whippersnappers and your Pokemon, your Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Speaking of Pokemon,
Your little peep. You son of a bitch.
Speaking of Pokemon, I saw something on my Facebook feed the other day, and my friend was saying, "Hey, add me on Pokemon Go."
No.
I was like,
I will give you $100 to never repeat that phrase again.
give me the money.
Not you.
Damn it.
Oh man.
But it blows my mind that people still actually play that game. It's not a bad game. It's just
I don't think it's a bad game.
It's tedious and it takes too long.
And it's not to say that it's outdated, but it's a little outdated.
Yeah, it really
People
is.
still do it, dude. I had a friend that went out to Chicago to do it. They had a huge Pokemon Go event. They got rained out.
Did they really? Oh, that sucks.
It's like evacuate Chicago. That's a band. That is a band.
Evacuate Chicago.
Yeah, that's. I want to say it's evacuate Chicago. It is Psycho Stick. They're a really serious band. Sidebar. Little side note. If you guys know who Psycho Stick is, they used to have a real band. I mean, not to say they're not a real band, but they used to have like a band that was more serious. Crazy stuff in this world.
Yeah, imagine that. But
Pokemon Go.
Yeah, Pokemon Go. Because I'm not going to lie, I tried it out. I grew up on Pokemon. Mm-hmm. Like, I bought the original American blue version. I also, after I beat the blue version, I did get a Japanese copy of it, but it didn't run on my Game Boy because everything was regioned back then.
Oh, yeah.
That was annoying. But, if you don't know what regioned is, you're probably too young to.
Well, congratulations for not knowing what that is.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, your life's a lot easier for that.
But I did play Pokemon Go.
I think we all did
for about a couple months, and it was great getting out and about. It was awesome being able to walk around town and have something to do. And well, honestly, it's kind of hard to not look like a creeper if you're by yourself. Well, if you're an adult by yourself, I should say. For some reason, if you're a single straight male and you're walking around town with your cell phone out, people think you're some kind of like creeper or something. It's like, this is bullshit, man. I just want to play my game.
I just want to play Pokemon Go. What are you doing out here? I don't know, man. I'm trying to get to my goddamn house for once. So why don't you fuck off, Frank?
And you know what the biggest thing that pissed me off about Pokemon Go was? They put all of the fucking stops at churches and parks. The two places that I cannot go because I would look like a creeper if I went by myself.
Yeah, like that is really weird if you think about it. Like, why would they put it next to a park? Like, imagine just. I know it's probably a lot to do with like being. They're trying to like make it for kids and shit, but it's like, there's people like 30, 40 years old that grew up on this shit and like. Yeah, you go to a park and it's just like there's just a 40-year-old dude at the park playing on his cell phone.
Yeah, just sitting on his cell phone. Some mom's gonna be like,
"That is something I never thought about."
Yeah, it's kind of creepy if you think about it.
It is a little creepy that they force people into doing that. Like, not that like I think anybody that does that's creepy, but. But when it started, no one knew what they were doing.
Right. And
so you just started seeing it everywhere. It's like, oh, there's an epidemic going on. These goddamn goddamn weebs are coming to take my kids away from me. Right. That's what is happening.
Oh, jeez Yeah, but the thing is what some people don't actually know about Pokemon Go is it was based off of a game called Ingress. Ingress was released by Niantic, the company that made the company. Or made the company? Pfft. The company made itself. Duh.
Make yourself, you will.
Right? But they made Pokemon Go and Ingress. And what Ingress was is you had to go around and collect like data and stuff. Like you would take pictures, actual pictures, physical pictures of real things in the real world.
Pictures.
And it would upload it and give you the in-game currency and stuff, and you could redeem it for like gift codes and stuff like that. Well, what I personally, I don't. This might not be true, but what I personally think that was all about is they wanted to build up a database of significant areas, which is probably why churches were the primary thing that people took pictures of, because churches in America, that's a thing. Like it's just a thing. Everywhere you go, you will find a church. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's probably not the same everywhere you go. It's kind of crazy. It's just American culture's nuts, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like we're having a little bit of technical difficulties.
We're having some technical differences. No, we're good.
Okay. But yeah, but based on the information that they collected from that, they used those exact pictures to put on like all the Pokestops and the gyms where they're generally speaking, gyms are like really significant buildings in the town. Mm-hmm. Like in a town that I visited, the town hall, of course, was a gym.
Our park was.
But also the gas station in that town, because the town is so small, was also a gym.
Oh, that's a weird place to put a gym.
Yeah, it really is.
Like a good place to put a Pokestop. Maybe not a gym, though.
Yeah, exactly.
There's going to be kids, like, sitting around battling. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, no loitering, man.
Right? And then it just causes all kinds of... That's another thing that everyone knows about. A lot of people playing Pokemon Go when it first came out were trespassing.
Oh, hell yeah.
Do not trespass.
We did that all the time. I don't give a fuck. Are you going to arrest me?
If you saw the look I just gave him. Anyways.
If you know me, you know I don't really give two shits about the law. I don't care, man. I'm a fucking outlaw. I'm just kidding. Yeah. Go on.
Yeah. Anyways. But it was actually kind of cool because I met a few people through Pokemon Go that were my age, believe it or not.
I did too, as well. I did too.
And that was the coolest thing ever to me, honestly, because it's like, I'm not a social person. I have, like I said, I have some pretty bad anxiety. Probably not as bad as yours.
Crippling. Yeah. That's how I describe it. It's not even, it's weird. It's just in phases, really, in certain circumstances, but yeah.
Yeah. But but your attacks are far worse than mine.
That's the thing that when I have attacks, they're severe, man. Mm-hmm. But I don't have them all the time. Yeah. But when I do have them, it's just crippling.
I'm pretty much inverse from you in that I have them all the time, but they're not really that severe. I've had two of them that have sent me into full blown panic attacks.
I had one that sent me to the hospital.
Yeah.
That's not good. You don't want that.
Yeah, that's terrible.
You don't want that. That's like the opposite of what you want. You're going to want to try to avoid dying at all costs. That's a great way to live.
Yeah, do you imagine that?
Wait a second. That's maybe not. Maybe not that. But yeah, if you want to survive, avoid things that make you die.
I mean, that's a pretty succinct philosophy on life, isn't it?
It's sustainable for sure. It's like sustainable for an average of 79 years or so.
Yeah.
How old do you think people are going to be by the time that we're like 100? Do you think there's going to be people living to like 150 by the time we're 100?
No.
I don't know, man. We're getting pretty close.
No.
Well, who's the oldest person? 125 or 126?
Well, if some guy in China claims he's 200 years
old. My
old.
God, we got to do a whole episode about this guy.
Yes.
That guy, I used to research. I actually did a paper on this guy. Holy crap! Can
He
we talk
claims-
about that?
He claims to be, but I still don't believe it.
Well, obviously not, man. There's no way this guy claimed to be like 400 years old. Can we look this up? I'm gonna try to figure this out. You want to talk about it while I figure this out?
I don't. There's not really much to talk about. He claims that he's like some super old age, which the oldest person ever recorded, I think, was 119.
Oh, hold on. Let me look that one up. I actually can do that real quick.
I'm actually not 100% sure.
I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong.
Oh, good. I am wrong.
122.
I was off by 3 fucking years.
I told you it was in the 120s.
Yeah.
Holy crap, she looks hot. I wish I could pull this up right now.
Oh my god, she looks like a zombie.
I don't know if I want to make it that far if that's what I look like. No offense to her, but like,
well,
when you hit that age, it's just like, it's too much, man. The body's not meant to have that.
If people would get off their high horse about stem cell researches.
Yeah, I don't think I talked about this.
Wow, what English?
Researches.
Yeah, that's a new word. We should make that a word.
Researches.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hashtag
that is a word.
Research is a word.
That is a word. It's not in the way you wrote. Not in the way you said it.
Yeah.
Congratulations, we made it happen. We didn't even need the hashtag.
Give me a break. Yeah, I've been up for 23 hours.
Oh, okay. So I have this right here. This guy was born. This is a hugely. What is this? 1677 or 1736. What? That is a huge difference.
Or that's a fucking 100 years. Isn't it?
Not quite. But it's still it's such a huge. What the hell, man? How do you not know? Like, I don't know. I was either born in 1994 or 1836. Excuse me?
Hang on a second.
Hold on, that didn't register right. Can you say that again, but in Spanish? I clearly don't know what the fuck you just said in English. Okay. Let's just read his Wikipedia. Can you pronounce this? I don't want to botch his name.
Li Qingyun.
What's up, Lee? My buddy Lee. My friend Lee here was a Chinese herbalist, martial artist, and tactical advisor known for his supposed extreme longevity. He claimed to have been born in 1736, while disputed records suggest 1677. Like, what? Implying an age at death of 197 or 256. Both far exceed the highest verified ages on record. So this guy died in 1933. He really existed, and God, it's like, what? How does this guy even exist? He had 24 spouses. That's what it says. Wow.
Wowzers is right.
His true date of birth was never determined, and his claims have been dismissed by scientists as a myth. While his claims have never been verified, they have been widely circulated as an internet hoax. But, like, I mean, what if it's real, though? What if some guy lived to be 197? That would be nuts.
They do.
Have you seen pictures of this guy? He looks like he's like 7 feet tall.
Well, there's
He doesn't look that old.
No, in that picture he only looks like he's 90.
This looks like an old picture, but who knows when this was taken?
Right.
But still, yeah, he doesn't look that old.
No.
But he's an herbalist. Yeah, he's that word. I can't fucking pronounce it. He's a herbalist.
Oh, an herbalist.
And yeah, so obviously that's why he lived to be that old.
Well, there's also monks. I've the details are really foggy because I had to do a research paper on this in high school a long time ago. But there's these monks that go into this deep state of meditation, which some will know as nirvana or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then there's some corpses that are like almost perfectly preserved corpses in a museum somewhere in Asia. I'm not sure where. I think it's China or somewhere around that area. It might even be Tibetan monks or something like that.
Hmm.
But they built this glass cage around this guy. And this corpse is like almost 400 years old or something like that. It's 400, 500, 600, somewhere around there. And people claim to have seen it move. Like, and
Dive on the decay.
but the scary
The
thing
inside
is,
of it.
the real scary thing is, they have video footage of it moving.
That's crazy. You got to tell me what this is.
It's God, I wish I could remember, but there's it's old mummified monk something. Like if you look at it, you can tell that this is either a wax model or it's a dead person.
Okay, I got it right here.
You got it?
A mummified monk in Mongolia. Is it Mongolia?
Yeah, I think that was it actually.
This monk was found wrapped in traditional Buddhist robes. Is in deep meditative trance and not dead.
Yeah.
My ass.
Supposedly that's possible. Scientists are not allowed to look at this body. And I'm going to refer to it as a body because I think it's just a hoax.
Oh my god! Is this it? That's a dead man right there.
I don't think it was that one specifically.
The monk was found as he was about to be sold on the black market.
That is it. And then it was put into a museum behind a glass cage.
That's a dead man.
Yes.
There's no way.
He's very dead. Very dead.
Jesus.
Because human cells just cannot. They can't keep producing like that. It's impossible.
No. Yeah, when you look at something that's hoax worthy, you got to look into the scientific facts, and that's usually how you can tell if something's a hoax or not. If it's like, okay, well, science says this isn't possible, 9 times out of 10 you're probably right, and it's something that because we deal with conspiracies on the show a lot. I love talking about conspiracies, but at the same time, I like to advocate for science and reason and to try to figure out why these conspiracies are the way they are. And too many people get caught up in the idea that a conspiracy is real all the time. And that's where we're talking about Alex Jones. Like, he's the type of person that I feel like gets really caught up in these. And while he is a truth seeker, I feel like this guy actually wants the truth. Sometimes you want to believe it too much, and then you kind of get caught in like these crazy conspiracies. You're like, oh well, the moon landing was fake, or like 9/11.
Which it was not, by the way.
9/11 didn't happen. I don't care what it is. You gotta be able to think critically and not just be like spew facts that aren't actually facts.
Yeah.
That can get you into trouble. Well, not even that can get you in trouble. It's just people are gonna think you're an idiot.
Yeah.
And especially if you have like a high-ranking news show or podcast, or you're an internet personality, like you just telling people this, it's false information. That's terrible for society.
You know what's also terrible for society? Flat earthers.
Ramen noodles. Oh,
yes,
we're somewhere else on that.
Ramen. Someone must be hungry.
No, I hate ramen noodles.
I love ramen noodles. That helped me through college. Well, helped me through the first part of college.
Would you say flat earthers? You mean truth tellers, Matt?
Truth tellers, my balls.
I don't understand how you can be a flat earther in a time like this where we actually have technology to see that the earth is not flat.
Right. Oh, but remember, it's a fisheye lens. I tell you what.
Oh, that's what makes it round. These people are onto something.
I actually remember watching a flat Earth video. I watched them for irony.
I watched them to see what they're talking about. I couldn't believe that they were serious.
Yeah,
They're
that
serious.
too. But there was this one dude. It was actually a fairly popular video on Facebook, so it's probably been seen already.
A lot of dumb ones are.
It's some dude holding a balloon saying that gravity doesn't exist. Which, okay, I'm going to say that right now. If you believe gravity does not exist, you just need to seclude yourself from society because we don't need you here.
Yeah, but here's the thing, like, if you try to say gravity doesn't exist because there are other dimensions out there, and the other dimensions could make there's a complete like that's another thing we were talking about. Like if string theory is real and there's just a shitload of other dimensions, it could completely disprove everything we know.
Right.
But that's like a whole different thing.
But you know what this guy did?
But we gotta live with what we're living with right now in the reality of what we're living in now. We understand gravity's real.
Right.
Just deal with it.
You know what this guy did to prove that gravity was not real?
He took a balloon and let it go.
No, he took a balloon. It was filled with air.
Look, if gravity was real, this balloon would be coming back down to the ground.
And then he poured water on it, and it rolled off. And he's like, "You see the water rolling off?"
Oh no!
Yeah.
Well, there's a problem here. Everyone listening at home, I'm gonna give you a science lesson. Gravity pulls inward. It doesn't pull downward toward. That doesn't. Oh man.
Okay. Gravity is a result of mass. A balloon does not have mass. He said
doesn't have enough mass to produce gravity like that.
He said specifically in his words, this is not verbatim, but in his words he said if gravity was real, the water would stick to the balloon. I literally paused the video, I turned my computer off, and I walked outside and I screamed.
I need to get some fresh air after this. That's people think that way. They just use flawed logic to prove their points. You ever seen the monster video with the old lady? She's like talking about it's in Hebrew, and the monster represents 666, mark of the devil. Like, dude, you think they didn't do that on purpose? Like, what?
666 is the number of the beast, not the devil.
You know what I mean, though. But like, they do that on purpose. I guarantee you, they did that exact thing that she was pointing out on purpose. Mm-hmm. If they even did it on purpose, if they even did it purposely at all, which they probably did. Yeah. But like, she's like, look at this. It just proves that Satan lives in here. Like, what are you talking about? It's like we understand that. Like, just because I drink a monster, does that make me a Satanist? What? It's an ideology. It's not about that.
I'm laughing because it's actually true.
People think that.
People legitimately think that.
It
like, blows my mind.
And these hardcore Christians, they're literally just losing their goddamn minds over this dumb shit, and they're being judgmental along the way. And it's like, that sucks for other Christians involved that don't do shit like that. That it sucks because like there's people in every type of religion, every type of race, every type of anything that somebody does something fucking stupid, and then everybody else is like, yep, look right there, that's why they're stupid. This is why these people are fucking retarded. I'm like, whoa, calm down, buddy.
And now you understand why I honestly believe that organized religion is the root of evil.
I think organized.
I'm not saying religion itself is bad.
I think when it gets organized, people will take advantage of it. And if you take advantage of religion, then that's something that you shouldn't be doing.
Profiteering.
Yeah, I don't care. If you grow to be that big, you have to take money in, and that's one thing. If that's what it takes to get your point across and you're doing something good for the community, that's fine, but don't get greedy about it. Don't be a millionaire taking money from people.
Yeah, like those televangelists.
Yeah, televangelists, man. They make a shitload of money off people.
Yeah.
Like mega churches. These priests make a ton of money. It's like, is that what you really got into Christianity for? And not to like better people's lives, better your life? Bring them closer to God? Isn't that like the whole point?
Exactly.
And you're taking them even further away from that because you're just taking their money. Mm-hmm. Which is fucked.
And I am a man of science, so I'm not really
a man
religious.
of astrology. Your astrological sign says you're a dick and you're wrong.
But I am a man of science. However, because I am a man of science, and it really irks me when scientists actually do this, I do not deny the existence of the being that people refer to as God. I think it would be ignorant to deny it because you don't have evidence. And this is the argument that a lot of scientists make. There is no evidence of God, so therefore he cannot exist.
Yeah, but what are you looking for?
Exactly.
That's like what?
Exactly.
How do you? That's like something. I feel like religious people find a lot of they're finding a lot of happiness, and they're like, yeah, you don't even know what you're looking for. Fuck you. You can't figure it out.
Right.
But like, I don't think that's something we'll ever be able to understand, and we won't know until we're dead, and we might not even know then.
Right.
It's like, well,
I don't know what's gonna happen when
nobody
die.
knows. I mean, like, if we did know, there would be a book about it.
Yeah.
And they'd be selling it for $39.99 plus tax, shipping and handling.
And shipping and handling fees.
Yeah. Shipping and handling fees.
Woo, buddy.
Woo, that's $7.99 on its own. That's a lot of money to just know the truth. I don't know. I don't even know. That's, in this age of information, I feel like you could have the truth. You have the meaning to life in a book. People will be like, oh, that's cool. I don't need it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Isn't that how weird? It's weird. Like, people would rather be sold like some kind of cool experience or like some like easy way to fix your life, but if they showed you the actual meaning to life, yeah, a lot of people would be interested. But I feel like given a little bit of time, and like the people that hadn't read it yet, they'd be like, yeah, I don't care. I don't know I didn't need to know the meaning of life. Just give me my Facebook and give me my Twitter, and I'll be happy. I'm just going to scroll through videos for the rest of my life, liking, clicking, commenting, and sharing, and people feed my ego.
I could get paid for that.
Whew. Getting, like, clicking, liking, sharing.
Yeah,
people do that.
Sharing, hitting that subscribe button.
Influencers.
Maybe even hit that little bell button,
Yeah, do that right now, actually, if you haven't done that. Go onto my YouTube, subscribe, turn on that bell. Now. Do it now. Did you do it?
Yeah.
You better fucking have done it. Yeah, I think people are just oversaturated with content. And that's why I just put out this podcast day after day so you can pay me money that I don't make.
Yeah, this shit don't get monetized. YouTube.
Honestly, I like just doing it to talk to people.
Yeah.
It's cool to pick their mind and then like share information just for free. I don't even care. Like, if I got paid for this, I'd be like, hell yeah, I'd take the money, but like, if I don't get paid for it, I'm going to continue to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this isn't, I just like to do this.
Yeah. And that's honestly, that's what most YouTubers started out as. They weren't making millions of dollars and shit when YouTube first started, obviously. Because everyone's got to start somewhere. But, some of the content creators have like lost touch with their fan base.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, like huge. But I've been going around. I've been bouncing from platform to platform. Like, I've gone from YouTube, Twitch. I've even tried out Mixer. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't streamed yet.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah, I might start streaming, but when I'm bouncing around, I'm noticing YouTube creators. I'm not saying they're all doing this, but YouTube creators are starting to lose touch because they have such a large fan base. Like,
yeah, they don't know who to cater to anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like a prime example of the ones who are not losing touch of the fan base.
Mr. Beast.
Yeah, Mr. Beast.
Dude, Mr. Beast
definitely.
is badass.
Yeah, he really is. He really, really is. But one of my favorite YouTubers of all time is Markiplier. And it's a pretty common name, He used to do collabs with PewDiePie and Jacksepticeye and stuff. But he tries his best to keep in like direct communication with his viewers, and it's really nice, the community that he's built up. Because another thing that I've noticed amongst all of the streaming platforms and all of the video media share platforms is a lot of creators are banking on toxic fan base, because so that they don't have to worry about being toxic.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. A lot of people also take advantage of just scamming people, doing dumb shit like that, because that's what sells on YouTube. YouTube has literally, oh god, they're gonna kill me for this, but YouTube has literally just made a living off of people scamming people.
Yeah,
they're like their dealers. They're like the scam plug. They're like, hey, this guy, he's got some free Fortnite V-Bucks. This guy's going to give you some gift cards, and just watch all his content, and we're going to monetize him, and we're going to take that money that you're making us. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, that's
Not
pretty
everybody's scamming, but a lot of people are. And they're just getting paid to scam.
right.
Like, what the hell?
I became back when the adpocalypse for the first time.
Yeah, I think that's coming again.
That's about the time. Well, we're technically going on to 3 now.
Yes, fun stuff.
Which I really hope it doesn't happen, because that's gonna make YouTube change the algorithm, and people are just gonna lose even more money. Yeah. Some people depend on this as a full-time job.
Yeah, and YouTube has done this for them, so they have to continue doing it for them.
Yeah, and the part that makes me really sad, because I really like YouTube, I really do.
Yeah, it's nice.
I've been watching since 2005, the beginning of YouTube. I've been watching since the very beginning. The first video I ever watched was a Numa Numa song to a cartoon animation.
God, I remember when YouTube first came out.
Yep.
Jesus.
Yep. And
so much different back then. It was a lot better.
But now I'm seeing channels abandoning the platform.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I'm sure they're getting deleted too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame them, man.
And even in the case of Markiplier, look at Markiplier. He's got like 23, 24 million subscribers right now. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a lot of subs.
But he streams on Twitch now because you just don't make money on YouTube anymore.
Yeah, you can make money off YouTube, and I know how to make money off YouTube, but for one, you got to be monetized. If you're not monetized, you're not making money. Because if you're not monetized, you probably don't have a big enough audience, or you fucked up. If you fuck up, then you're like, oh, I might as well just go to Mixer or something, because I fucked up real bad on here. It's super easy to get demonetized now.
Yeah.
And if you're not monetized, you're not getting ad money, and that's huge.
Yeah, and like if you just even say damn in a video, you can be fully demonetized. If you say poop, you can be demonetized.
I hope we're not going to get demonetized for this.
Fuck.
Well, there you go.
Bullseye. But yeah, going back to the fan base thing, YouTube creators are switching over to other platforms like Twitch and Mixer.
Yeah, I've been seeing that a lot.
Yeah, and Twitch and Mixer are the new rising stars. I mean, I strongly doubt they'll ever pass YouTube. YouTube
Probably
is the
not.
number one giant.
Twitch is big, but like Twitch is very limited in what they can do for right now.
Kind of. They've been expanding functions a lot. Like over the past year and a half, I've been getting into like watching streamers and stuff, because honestly, when I first started watching streamers, I thought that it was a joke. To like watching. Why would I want to watch someone?
It seemed different, but like
stuff?
If you could watch someone play at like a really high level, it's like okay, maybe it has some personality with it. It's like okay, this is like an actual show.
Yeah, and like
let's talk all day.
My top 3 favorite streamers are Quarter Jade, Foosley, and Masayoshi. They're all kind of tightly connected. They're really great people, and the thing that I really like about them is what social media was supposed to do. They bring these people together in a positive environment so that they can hang out with like-minded people and have fun and watch someone play a game, and you can interact with them while they're playing that. Like you can still, like they could be like playing Until Dawn or something, and you get to that point where you have to make this decision or whatever. Yeah. If you're the streamer, you can look at the chat and be like, what do you guys think I should do? Or whatever.
And you can actually influence what they do next, which is super cool.
Yeah.
Because you never get that in like actual live TV. It's like, well, yeah, they're live, but well, for one, are they actually live? A lot of people said that they were live back in the day, but it's like you question it because there's no way to guarantee that you could say for sure or not that they're live. A lot of times, they probably weren't.
Yeah.
Guarantee. Well, especially when you talk about reality TV, I feel like a lot of that was, obviously a lot of it was staged and a lot of it still is staged. But when they say it's live, they used to do that back in the day. Remember that shit?
Oh yeah, like Survivor.
Yeah, they'd be like, "This
The Island.
This is coming from you live." It's like, okay, well, I don't care. I feel like it tricked a lot of people into watching it though. They're like, "Wow, this is gonna be live."
You should watch that Family Guy episode on the game show thing. When Lois and Peter get pulled in. Or no. That was The Simpsons. Holy fuck, I must be really tired today.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I feel, it's getting late, bud. It's past your bedtime.
Yeah, about 5 hours ago.
Yeah.
Oh, well. That's okay. I get the chance to talk with all of you people.
Yes, all three of you. You got to be honest with yourself when you first get into this. It takes a little bit to build up a actual listening audience. I think the biggest thing is being able to take clips and showing them, like, here's the highlights. Here's 30 minutes of the best stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you bring your people in. And you got to, like, sometimes people talk about, like, doing podcasts about, like there was someone that said something about doing a Richard Simmons podcast. And be like, well, I don't give a fuck about these guys talking, but they're talking about Richard Simmons. I'm a huge Richard Simmons fan. It's like, I mean, why are you a Richard Simmons fan? But still, like, it brings you in. So, like, people use, like, they, like, name drop and stuff. I don't know, man. I'm still finding my footing in it. Because I'm like one of these guys in the beginning phases, and even if you look back and like a lot of people that I watch, they even talk about quite a bit when they first started. They had no idea what the fuck they were doing, and they had no viewers. Like, I remember Joe Rogan was talking about it once. He was like, yeah, I remember I only had like 100 viewers my first episode. It's like, this is like one of the most powerful people in media right now. And he's saying that I had 100 viewers. That's nuts, man. You ready to wrap this up?
Yeah, we might as well.
Yeah, I'm feeling. We've done 3 episodes, so I think which they're gonna be released.
You mean 2 and a mysterious one that vanished.
Lost. I can't even do it. My voice is gone.
Lost episode.
If you've noticed that I'm talking so quietly, it's because I don't have a voice left to talk with. But
yeah, we've been talking for what, 4 hours now?
I'd say about 4.
4.5.
Yeah,
something like that.
And yeah, I'm looking forward to doing it again, whenever that will be. And I do want to thank you guys for tuning in. If you have made it this far, I don't even know what to say. I'm more than thankful. And if you have skipped to the end, that's cheating, by the way. Make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications if you're listening on YouTube, if you're listening on Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify. Thank you so much. And make sure to check out my Twitter and my Facebook, and go follow and like my Facebook as well. And all I can say is